I'm with Joshua Waller from Hayovel. Now, Israel is currently at war with Hamas. Was the 7th of October massacre a surprise to you?
We've being here in Judea and Samaria, what the world calls the West Bank. This the attacks against the Jewish people is not something new to us. We lost, honestly, back in February. I lost two friends that were local to terrorism. So, unfortunately, the Jewish community has suffered massively. This isn't the first time the Jewish people have suffered at the hands of radical Islam. But obviously, the massacre obviously was a massive surprise. Never expected anything to this degree to happen to the people of Israel.
Now, people are doing their bit for the war effort, and you brought over some cowboys from the US. Tell us a bit about that.
Sure. I'm the director of operations here. For the last 20 years. We've been working here in the communities of Judea and Samaria, again, as the world calls the West Bank. We've been serving the farmers and the small communities to help them with whatever needs they had. And when October 7th happened, the horrible massacre occurred here, the governors, the elected leaders of the areas were calling for much support. I'm telling you, they need massive needs here. Just basic supplies were needed. And these 200 communities, the 500,000 Jewish community that live here, were just massive needs. So we immediately said, yes, we'll do whatever we can to help. They requested that we airlift supplies in, and we, of course, in this kind of situation, we just said, yes, we'll do whatever we can to help. And so Operation Etai was started then, October 8th, really. We already had Operation Etai ready to go, and we formulated a quick plan. We'll do whatever we can to get supplies in here. The protective gear, we had our first airlift of supplies land yesterday, thank God, and supplies are beginning to come. We've raised about $2 million of a $29 million project to get supplies in here as quickly as possible to these communities.
Wow. So you got one of the cowboys with you. What's your name and where are you from?
Sure, and I'll tell you this really quickly as well. The Cowboys are here to, number one, get the supplies out to the communities as they arrive. And number two, with the war threat, here in Samaria and Judea so high, this is really a fourth front to the war here. Very hostile area. The guys are also fulfilling the role of all the men that are gone and in the war front. So these guys, we have Zeke Strain here. Zeke, come on over here. What's going on?
Yeah, Zeke Strain. And so originally we had tickets booked to come and help out Hayovel, helping out with the farming and stuff going on. But then when the war broke out, our tickets got canceled, because a lot of the airlines are flying to Israel. So we booked new tickets and we decided we'd come earlier because this is more important than anything else that we're doing. And, we can drop whatever because, this is, it's life and death here with the Jewish people and the situation they're in. So, we just wanted to come down and help in any way we can here. I would encourage others. Not everyone can come and help out on the ground, but by donating, praying, and any way you can. And a lot of Montana is real supportive of Israel. So
are you from Montana?
Yeah, I'm from Montana, Augusta, Montana.
How did your family feel about you coming here?
They're totally supportive of it. A little bit, I guess. What do you call it? I don't know. Little word. They're totally supportive of it.
That's great. Now, Josh, which areas are they going to be working in?
They're going to be over the 200 communities here. So it's a very large project. The Judea and Samaria, obviously, we've covered that where the location they're at, but it's specifically the small farms and communities here that we're focusing our biggest attention on, only because these small communities and farms are very much so in harm's way. We're surrounded by about 2.5 million Arabs, of which, the world's arguing how hostile they are. I'll tell you for sure. I've been attacked multiple times. And obviously, I've lost friends. And, we're talking about a very hostile environment around us. It's not whether they're hostile or not. It's when they will attack.
Yeah,
that's really the question. The political world is trying to say that this only represents a few rowdies. The fact is there's enough rowdies to cause major damage, and the Jewish life matters to me, and we have to do something about it. The threat to 500,000 Jewish people living here is very high right now, and I'm looking for, as a Christian, I'm hoping for a proportionate Christian response to this massacre. We've never seen it in Christian history where Christians actually stood with Jews in their time of need, but we're hoping. And we thank God the Cowboys arrived. It's been a huge support. Israel feels encouraged. And we're hoping for more. We're hoping for more. It's not just a handful. We're not in the 1930s and 40s. We have much better communication skills, and we're hoping that we can wake the world up. It's not only the right and moral thing to do, it's a biblical mandate for Christians.
Are you suffering from rockets there as well, or are they not reaching your area?
Rockets don't reach our area. We're in the mountain range across, north and south of Jerusalem. Basically, the mountain range that runs through the dead center of the country that's where we work.
So are these guys going to be picking fruit, and what's happened to the regular workers?
Sure. Israel works with a lot of migrant workers from other countries, specifically Thailand. After the massacre, actually, a lot of Thai workers, migrant workers, were taken, and many of the hostages, or a number of the hostages, are actually from Thailand. And a lot of the Thailands were killed down. There's so many farms down on the Gaza border. They killed and massacred, tons of the Thailand workers. So that has put a lot of fear into the Thailand workers. The Thailands I've left in droves by the thousands. So, not only do you have the men on the front lines of the Israeli war, we also have the migrant workers fleeing. So now the need for volunteers is so incredibly high. And the guys are going to be, one, getting the supplies out, and two, helping to fill the needs. Tomorrow we'll be on a farm and helping with whatever they need us to do. Tomorrow it's actually going to be putting in a fence. There's wild boars ruining crops in the south, so we got to fence that off. There's crops rotting that need to be picked. There's so many needs. We could name them. Putting in security roads. Even the range of things that the guys have already done is very high. We're also building a warehouse for supplies to be able to come into. So the boys are busy, and there's lots to be done and a lot more to do day by day.
So this is work that's vital, because an army marches on its stomach and they need food, and you're picking the food.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend on how much we're able to do, but you're exactly right. Israel needs to be, food security is a big thing. As the nations turn against Israel, we see it happening at mass right now. Israel's got to be able to stand on its own.
So I'll ask your Cowboy, is this a way of blessing Israel and standing with Israel at a difficult time?
Yeah, I think, it's definitely, prophecy is happening, and Jewish people have returned and are returning, and I think we need to stand with them. It's important that we be a part of it. And
what do Israelis think about you being here?
Oh, they're excited about it.
Yeah.
I think.
You've been invited to a number of barbecues. I think you got about 1,001 barbecues that you need to attend.
Yeah.
They've gone quite the viral deal here in the country. Every Israeli wants to meet them. So
yeah, Joshua, does this give hope to Israel in a desperate time when they see people coming over and wanting to help?
Honestly, these aren't the first Cowboys to arrive in Israel. I've been working here for 20 years, and I myself am a farmer from Tennessee. And I think the guys hit a specific chord, and I think you just hit it. Israel is in a massive time of need. And after all the brutality that everyone's seen, the act of kindness from Cowboys to leave their farms in Montana and in Arkansas and to come and give really hit a point. The Jewish world needed a hug. They needed a hug, and they were able to receive that from these guys. And thank God. I think that the real answer is that we need more. We need more guys. You don't have to wear a cowboy hat to come serve and love on the Jewish people. We need more people fulfilling their God-given role of supporting the nation of Israel. No matter who you are in the world, we've got to support Israel, and there's an opportunity. There's opportunities all over the country. It's just a matter of plugging in and getting to task.
Now, Hayovel also work in media. You're doing work on YouTube. Tell us a bit about that.
Sure. We worked here for about 12 years, and we realized, wow, there's so much misinformation. We're the only Christian organization working in all of Judea and Samaria here. We're the only one that has a base of operations here, and it's a very lonely work out here where you realize the anti-Israel world is so hostile to the message of the Jewish people being here and their God-given right to be here. And we said, hey, these liars, it's bold-faced lies in the world media. We said, and no one's pushing back. So we said, hey, let's start to talk. So we opened up the platform, the Israel Guys, and we just started putting out videos. And lo and behold, it went crazy viral. And now, we're thank God we have an opportunity to share with the world the truth of what is actually happening. And right now, more than ever, there's so much misinformation, and here we are. We're on the ground. We can tell people exactly what's happening.
Why do you do what you do?
That's a good question. And, I was raised in a Christian home in the hills of Tennessee on a farm. In our living room when I was growing up, we had an Israeli flag and a menorah on top of our piano. And I was raised with the foundation, the rock solid foundation, that the Jewish people were God's chosen people, and anything we could do to help them, we should do. And there's a need. 20 years ago, when we saw there was a need, we came and we started filling it. today there's even more needs.
Mm.
And I think it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility that we have as the nations all around the world, no matter who you are. The nations have a responsibility to the people of Israel as God's chosen, to recognize that they're chosen by God, and then also to support them as that special people. So we have a great opportunity here to serve God's people in a massive capacity. So that's what drives me. Honestly, that's what drives me to do it. I believe that God doesn't change, and when God made a promise, He meant it. He didn't forget it, and that drives me also to see the Jewish people here in the land, to see them settled here. When God promised Abraham on the hill just across from where our base is here, where I'm standing now, that this land was the land that he promised to Abraham and his descendants, I go with that. It's not politics for me. It's a matter of faith. It's a deep connection to God's promise.
We're seeing a lot of anti-Semitism that's rising up around the world at the moment. Do you think the blessing that's going to come out of that is it will cause Jews to come back home, come back to the land of Israel?
It's a very evil threat that we have facing the Jewish people. Talk to Jewish people who said they felt safer even with the war in Israel here in the land of Israel than they do abroad, specifically in America. It's a horrible thing, and that is striking a deep chord and across the world for Jewish people to understand what's happening. But I say, if you want to look at it in a positive way, then yes, I believe that Jewish people coming back to the land of Israel is very significant. Unfortunately, it's the only safe place. It's the only place that you can count on for Jews to be able to fight defend themselves as Jewish people. We have really in the big scope of things, we have one Jewish state. There's just one. There's 22 Arab states. There's 50 majority Muslim countries in the world. And the fact that the world is pressuring to cut the one and only Jewish state in half shows that the world has a bitter hatred, not only for the Jewish people, but to the God who promised it to them. And I think to boil it down, the hatred on the college campuses, the hatred across the world that's rising for the Jewish people is only a symbol and a sign across the world that the world is rising in its opposition to God and God's promises. So as the world continues to, and as God's word continues to come to pass, as we all believe and know that that's what's happening, we trust that God will take care of his people. And, if they're able to come home to Israel, we also want to stand here and help them and support them in this one and only safe haven for Jewish people to be.
It's quite ironic, really, isn't it, that their hatred is actually helping to fulfill biblical prophecy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a real pity that it has to happen that way.
Yeah.
It should be us, the nations, carrying the Jewish people home on our shoulders, like in a unified manner of bringing the Jewish people home in a place. But unfortunately, it has right now. It's through war, and it's a real pity that the nations have come to this state. It's definitely not the preferred. And I'm telling you, from a biblical perspective, the nations will pay for that. Either we serve the Jewish people and honor them and bring them home to Israel in a proper way. But if they have to flee, we can look back in history and see what happens to those nations that didn't protect the Jewish people. That even if that's prophecy, it's also not good for that nation. That nation will fail. And we've seen that too many times to doubt that.
What's both of your prayers for the situation at this time?
Yeah, for me, it's just that there would be peace, return peace to Jerusalem, to the land of Israel, that the Jewish people would be able to live in peace and be safe in the country.
Yeah, I guess for me, same. Peace for Israel, and that the nations are surrounding would support them and not be fighting all the time, and that there'd be peace between Jews and Americans and every other country. So,
Amen. Joshua, what's your website for people who maybe like to come and volunteer?
Sure. Yeah. Just real simply, serve Israel, serveisrael.com. Right now, there's a banner at the top of the page that points people to the Operation Itai. And if people can help with that, this is a huge response to the Christian world to support the communities here that are in such dire need.
Great. Well, thank you guys for joining us today.
Thanks for having us on. It's been great.